Bonjour à tous et bienvenue sur Motion Café pour une nouvelle interview breakdown. Donc pour ceux qui connaissent pas le principe, l'idée c'est d'inviter de grands motion designers et de parler un peu de leur workflow et de leur boulot dans After Effects. Le premier épisode était avec J.R. Canest, je vais vous inviter à le voir, et pour cette deuxième édition, nous avons décidé d'inviter Tony Zagoraios. Hi Tony.
Hello Aurélien, how are you?
Good, thank you for your time.
Thank you too. Thank you for inviting me.
Maybe you can introduce yourself for people who doesn't know you?
Yeah, of course. I'm a motion designer. Right now I live in Greece, Athens, and not the best place to live, especially these years for economy reasons and things like that. But we're trying to do our best. I'm working a lot with clients abroad, and I was freelancing until this June. And I was also a director in Mint UK. But from June, I joined forces with my partner Kostas Fatsis, and we created Yell, an animation studio. And right now, we are trying to create some cool stuff as a team. We are now 5 people, and from June we started to form the whole team, because it is truth that especially the 2 years we were working most of the projects as a team, but there was no name for the studio, and we decided that this was the appropriate time to do that. Okay. I'm still freelancing as a director, but mostly like 90% of the works we are taking them and execute them as a motion design team, like more like Yale.
Is your team made of specialized artists, or is just everyone do a bit of everything?
Yeah, basically it's one 3D director and generalist, and there we have two motion designers, but they also know how to use and handle Cinema 4D programs like that. And we also have another partner which is exclusively for illustrations and graphic design, and then we have one more partner for liquids and simulations and things like that. But the core of the team is like motion design oriented, okay, and with knowledge in 3D also. But there's no specific expertise like some like modeling or lighting or texturing. We are hiring people according to the project, but the core of the team is like 3D and motion design.
Great. That's pretty great.
Yes. And I don't know, the old name is we were searching a lot for the name, but because we're not quiet in the studio, we're yelling on each other. The Greeks that are shouting all the time, and we decided to give one word, because we were searching a lot. There wasn't. We have found a name that was big, but we decided to move on with Yell. It's one word, it's straightforward, and it's very easy to understand.
Usually the shorter names works the best.
Yeah, especially like one word. And we did our whole the whole design and identity for the brand has been made by our friend Still Noon, and everything has been hand drawn and then translating into digital form, because we wanted our identity to be rough and keep a really nice style, a little bit of street style, but also then be able to transform and translate that into digital.
That's great.
Yeah. So
it's working so far.
Yeah, it's working so far. Yeah, we are trying to create some cool projects. We have some nice projects coming up, especially for the next 2 months, and yeah, it's cool. It's really nice.
Yeah, that hope it's gonna stand like this, like
yeah,
reward and stuff like that.
Yeah, but of course, all the studios are doing projects just for paying the bills. As it's not like 100% of the projects they are all creative, but we are trying to keep a nice balance, that keep us creative and happy and optimistic, so we don't make like most of the works just for paying the bills. Okay, but we're keeping a nice balance, and this is the
Yeah, that's a good way to do.
yeah, this is the final issue at the end of the day, creating a really nice balance among these.
And for today, you select like some nice project and
Yes,
no
I
paying
was
bills
thinking,
project.
yeah, I was thinking to present some of maybe a project that have some really cool insights and interest for the people. I will share some After Effects project files, and I would like to guide you through these projects from direction, design, and dive into After Effects, and also discuss a little bit about Cinema 4D and things like that. So it's pretty cool to see how a project, starts from scratch and then move on to the final production and how it's it's finally delivered on the client.
If you talk about Cinema 4D, you're gonna make a lot of people happy.
Yeah, pretty sure. But you will see at the end of the day that I'm not the heaviest user of Cinema 4D. I just use that in order to express what I have in my mind. It's not like I know every aspect of Cinema 4D. Okay, I just know and handle everything that works for me in order to come up with the final result that I want to achieve in these things. Okay,
that's great. So I think the project you choose is Need for Speed.
Yeah, the first one trailer. The first one is Need for Speed, the PC launch trailer. We worked with our friends from Trajectory Studio and Miguel Rato, and we were invited to create this trailer because it was the time that Need for Speed was launching for PC. So they told us to create a trailer that would present the PC launch for Need for Speed. And I just want to give you a little bit from inside and making of. So I will start from the direction, and the brief was not something very creative or something that has to do with it was numbers and things that we have to present and a little bit of social media interaction and things like that. So just a few notes about the timing. There was a montage, a video edit that we have to go there and play some 3D and infographics and things like that. So the first thing that we do is starting to create some folders with references. And you see here is we are trying to come up with some cool references and find out what would be a really nice language for the video. And you see we are collecting references. We are trying to collect references that they are not only from motion design pieces, but they are from real life. Of course, we are getting some cool references, and we are trying to find a really nice look that connects the old and classical feel from Need for Speed, but giving also a really nice and cinematic approach. So we were finding some really cool references. That one here was one of the first that's starting to give us a little bit of inspiration, and then some lines and some trails, but they are overused, to be honest. So we were trying to find something cool for that one, and these some types and some more typo.
When you start to look for references, you have an idea of where you want to go, or you just like see on the web what you see, and if you see something you like it, you save it, or you have a first idea, a rough idea to start.
I think the first movement is starting to collecting, and there you have ended up with a ton of references, but it's like connecting 100 references, and then you're starting to remove some of them that you believe they are not working. But basically what I'm doing is collecting a huge amount of references, and then having a day off, and then coming back and starting to see what may works for a project here. These are some lines and transitions that we were discussing, because we wanted to create a nice combination of glitz and darkness and cinematic feeling. but at the same time we had some lights and some really cool atmosphere happening. So what I'm doing with references is I'm collecting a bunch of them, and then moving forward and opening opening After Effects, grabbing my basic element, which is a car, and then moving on and starting to scratch the surface of the style. So let's take that one, so we can dive a little bit more to what I'm doing. So we are talking about cars, okay? So what I'm doing is, let me solo the layers. So I'm taking a 3D render that we have done in the studio. So we're taking a Porsche, we are just giving one light, and then I'm taking the Porsche and starting to bring my main element. So I have my inspiration there, and then I'm bringing the Porsche and starting to give a few layers in order to see how I can come up. So first I'm creating something like a reflection. Right now I'm just building a cool frame, okay? So there's nothing specific happening right now. And then I'm starting to add some, a shadow here. I'm using the After Effects to create style frames because I want to create a style frame that I will be able to animate that the next day, okay? Because sometimes people are creating in Photoshop or Illustrator, I don't know, any kind of software, but there is a respectable amount of time that takes to translate sometimes Photoshop files into After Effects or things like that into movable compositions, okay? So right now with After Effects, I'm pretty sure that I can move forward and the next day I can start animate, okay? So right now, I use a lot of the optical flares. Many people, they are not big fans, but I use optical flares mainly in my compositions in order to create, focal points and source of lights and things like that. So here I use optical flare behind the car to create a really nice contrast, and using many of the times the tint, so it's just a source of light. And then what I'm doing, because maybe I don't have the time, is I'm getting some debris from Google, and then of course if it's cool we can recreate them in 3D. So right now, so right now in the car I'm having some debris, and I'm translating in 3D layers and starting. Yep.
We got the speed. We got the start of the speed of the car, like.
Yeah, exactly. And you see, it's just an image, but I'm translating it to 3D and starting to give a really nice perspective. And there is another one, photograph, just, some smoke, okay, some some tint, unmalt. I'm using unmalt. It's a cool plugin, it removes everything. So it gives you a really nice information there without the black. So it's moving the black. And then I'm having more of these JPEG here just to give the movement. So right now I'm just building the composition, okay? So everything looks cool. You see I'm adding more layers of movement here.
Yeah.
And
so no,
then
right now, when you're doing that, we're just playing with adding layers, moving them, and
yeah, exactly. And here you see I'm having the same layer, the movement here, but it's a different. So if I open that picture, you see, so I got it's pretty strange, but it works, So I saw that picture, and I was impressed by these cool lines and glitch lines that the air was taking and things like that. So I got an inspiration, and I said to myself how I can use that in my car, because I really love them, okay? And then because I had only 2 days to create some cool style frames, around 10 style frames, which is a big amount. So I'm trying to find some, not messy solutions or sloppy solutions, but easy solutions to make me move forward and create what I have in my head, okay? So what I'm doing here, I took the photograph, I masked it out, as you see here,
yeah.
and use some unmalt again, and some directional blur. I'm using directional blur in order to give a little bit of, it feels like movement, and position again in different perspective. See here, if I move, you see the girl here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that, it's here. And then some lines back. some lines back. You see, if I open the composition, you will see them. You will see the girl here, but it vanishes after I'm playing some more stuff. You know, black solid there as a background. And then I'm using, again, some optical flares here with tint directional blur. So sometimes I have a black solid like that, which is just a light. And if I want to give a little bit of direction to the light, you know, I'm playing with directional blur, okay? So I'm having that one, okay? So it's just a really nice light that has been blurred and has a little bit of turns of movement here. So a tinted directional blur to my light. So it feels there that is a light source, but has been infected by the speed, okay? And then some debris, more debris, and then I will start to add more of the movement here, okay? So it's like, you know, creating a ton of layers here so we feel the tension of the car and everything else, okay? And here's just a null from my car, okay? Just to control my car. So I have that composition which starts to, you know, to tell me something, okay? It's a cool composition, but it's nothing pretty, you know, interesting or something different. And I'm taking that composition, the car composition, and moving to the style frame here. And here is when things are starting to get a little bit more interesting. So I'm using a lot of blending modes. And here what I'm doing is I'm using the same layer, duplicated. I'm using lighter color, blending mode, and some glow, okay? Basically what I'm doing is duplicating the same layer, but trying to highlight with a little bit glow the areas around the car.
And
are
you this kind of guy who just switching every
yeah
mode to find the perfect one? Okay.
Yeah, exactly, because, you know, there's a rule about blending modes, like some of like 4 or 5 blending modes, like darken or overlay screen. But, you know, I'm not limiting myself in these blending modes, okay? So maybe you will see after that lighter, it's a lighter color mode. And then I'm using again the same with 45%, but right now it's color dodge. So it's not the classical blending mode. So I'm placing one other, so it's starting to get a lot of highlights. And, you know, 45% or 100%, this is just a matter of your personal taste and what you want to achieve there, okay? And so right here is where I'm trying to make that look a little bit, you know, cool. And at the moment, I searched for a cool plugin that was not overused back then. So I used the pixel sorter, which is really cool. And I will remove all things. So I have my car here, and I'm switching on pixel sorter and using source layer my car, okay? I'm placing just a little bit of highlight part of the car as I'm opening my other compositions here, and getting that pixel sorting here around the edges of the car, so it feels you have something like a glitch highlight there, but it's not like I'm distorting the whole image, okay?
You're trying to get the glitch feels, not the...
Yeah, but just for the highlight area. So I'm trying not to overdo that. And then another one, duplicated layer, this time in linear burn, and I'm using again 45%. And then what happens here is I'm placing the pixel sorter again, but right now not in highlights as was the other one, but in shadows. You know, it takes a little bit of time to play, and you see here I'm giving another layer right now for the pixel sorter. Yeah. So I'm giving a second layer of pixel sorter, but again, I'm not distorting the final, the whole stuff in my car. Okay, it's just an outer, just an effect that doesn't, you know, affect the car, but it affects the whole atmosphere around the car. Okay, and what I'm doing here is, you know, what I love is giving noise to like 100% of our videos, and there are a lot of ways that you can achieve noise, and I'm using the overlay, you know, mode here sometimes, okay, but I'm trying to you know, to reduce the strength. Yeah, I'm trying to reduce the strength most of the times, okay, but mostly there I can play and start to give something like, let's go here about black 50, and then I can start playing and use that, okay. So it gives a really nice, elegant gray here. Okay, you see with the overlay mode in this mid-gray solid layer. Okay, just about 12%. But sometimes this is easier and much not too heavy. Okay. Right now, that one I used, adjustment layer, and then what I did is creating a pixel sorter again as an adjustment layer, so it gives way more distortion. But what I'm doing here is I'm getting a three-tone effect here, that one, and here's where I'm trying and getting a little bit of more cool stuff happening, because I'm having a different color for my mid-tones and different color for my shadows, and I'm blending with original like 20%, okay, because I like that, but I wanted to blend that a little bit with original footage. So 20%, pixel sorter again, and it's cool because I'm starting to getting some cool glitches, and the colors are blending really nicely, and with the noise it creates a really nice effect, more like a glitched painting style, which is it starts to become something, not like we are inventing the wheel here, but it's starting to have a really nice look. Okay, and then what I'm doing, beside the typography there, which is not the one that we used, I'm missing some font here. I'm just placing that place, so I'll leave that out. So what I'm doing is I'm using also looks. And with looks, I'm boosting a little bit my image, so it feels a little bit more cinematic. Okay, in these projects I used a lot of looks, but not in a project like 100% motion design. And then another one layer, which is a footage with noise that is animated, and yeah, it's a 35 millimeter G3 dirty version on MIP4, and then I use that also in a classic color dodge blending mode. Okay, so it's another layer of noise happening here. And then the final touch is creating a light source, because I want to create a focal point to the general image. So I'm creating a light source with a mask here, and what I'm achieving here is to create a focal point for the viewer. So because mainly you see two colors here, and then I want to add the third color, which is a more warmer color, in order to create focal point here. Okay, so I can take that layer and try, let's say I want something like here, and try to play a little bit with the mask and give other focal points or things like that. Okay, so I did that in like 90% of the scenes that you will see, and this is the general idea which I kept and tried to create all the style frames. So moving on to some other frames.
So basically, it's not like big technical stuff. It's just playing a lot with footage and effects and.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like a specific technique, or some, hidden secrets and things like that. Because it's not, coming up with a cool technique and try to apply that technique to all your style frames. Then, okay, so you will see some more style frames using the same technique. Moving on to the other style frame, which is, I don't know, it's like the Batmobile here. I don't know why it came up like that. And it's cool because when we finding the style, we were diving into Cinema 4D and creating some cool cloth and things like that. So you see here, the light source, solid, only that part here. And a lot of, the optical flares, again, what I'm telling you, it's just to give some cool sense of light here, okay? So it's like, trying to recreate natural lighting with this source of light, okay? It's not like I'm playing with flares that they are, the Star Trek flares and things like that, okay?
I'm not style.
Yeah, I'm using them more in order to give light sense and atmosphere and things like that. And you see again here is the car. It says the render is that one from a it's like Porsche again.
Looks it doesn't have any texture on it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward from Cinema 4D. Another one, depth of field, a lot of depth of field, and some rains, a rain layer here. set mate and tint and things like that. And again, a lot of blending modes and things like that. Okay, nothing fancy, and some texture glass drops here that we finally use them. It's here's the reference. One of the times that you see the reference, we like these lights on this style that's a little bit of bokeh, and we use them here in order to create the depth of field and the light and the cinematic feeling of the whole project, which is cool. And so we had the keyframes. This is one of my favorite shots because I like the car. And here's again the reference because I found a really nice shot of a car with that angle, so I took that. So here is where creating the style, which is pretty cool. And what we are doing next is let me close all these final style frames.
It's pretty cool to see how with basic stuff you can come up with great visual. It's all about compositing on these style frames.
Yeah, composing and mixing stuff that maybe are not think very straightforward, but they look cool, if you are trying to mix them cool. So so let me see here with a few renders. So I will go and open a scene. So here is the car. You see, we are just creating. So let me see if I can use that, because right now I have Octane here. And so you see here just a basic car. We are positioning the camera in the angle that we really like. We're just placing a cool cloth. And this is it, we have the model, we have the cloth, and then, boom, we're just creating a really fast render. And then, as you said, there's no real texture in the car, just a little bit to the street. And then we're creating a style frame from that one, okay? We're not trying to achieve the general style. So let me remove the protect tag from the camera here. So you see, it's like about creating the camera and finding a really nice, camera angle and perspective for your car, okay? But the 3D here is nothing, final or something, very complex, just to help us to create the style, okay? And let me open another one. And this is we like and we love to play with cloth, okay? And this is a test for the first scene that you see the cloth, but it's pretty basic stuff, it's not something way too extreme. But we did that here. We had the cloth in front of the car. The car is moving and just tearing the cloth, so it's it creates the frames that we want to come up and finalize. So the same technique here, and here is with the texture. It's the one that you're seeing in the the one that you see in the final. Okay, no, we are just a cloth tearing, but we have another camera. We're using a different camera here, which is a little bit more dynamic. But you see, we just have the texture, the cloth, and then the cloth, we tear the cloth, okay? But all these happen, if you render that, maybe not look fancy, I mean, in terms of lighting and style, but when you apply the style here that we try to achieve, it gives a little bit of a different look, okay? Just sometimes a combination of simple techniques. And also, what we did is, what we did is another one. We came up with a glitch style. So we decided also we want to play with lines and glitch lines and things like that. Okay. So about the transitions, because you see in the video there are a lot of transitions, glitch transitions. We used X particles here. And it's pretty straightforward. There are some particles that are being moving, in a very classical way. Okay, so you see here a meeting. And I did two things here. Okay, so to create some cool glitch. So what we did here is we did two different type of technique about the trails. Okay. So first is I rendered from Cinema 4D, a simple emitting of lines here. And then I took that one and moved into the After Effects. And what I did is I applied a pixel sorting to these screen glitz trails, and pixel sorting was kind enough to give me some cool results here. Sorry, some cool results, because you see here, as the trails, they are moving, the pixel tracing is giving you some really nice gaps here and some distortion, you know, at the end is coming up really cool. So creating these straightforward, you know, trails, and then moving on, and I will try. And you see here, I have these trails from the Cinema 4D, and then I applied Pixel Sorter here. I rendered them with Pixel Sorter from After Effects, and then what I'm doing is I'm using a gradient ramp here and creating these very fast movements here. You see, it's really cool because it gives a really nice, you know, gradient ramp inside these pixel sorter lines, and then I'm doing that because I want to support here the typography. I will open most of them, so give me a minute. So let me see, I have some perspective trails and it's good. So here we are having our typography, and then we're having the trails inside here, which you see these gaps that they are creating. It's really cool, you know, and then creating the gradient ramp and taking these particles. And then you are able to do a lot of stuff, because you can go here. I have my trails, and I have my trails, my pre-comp here, you see?
Yeah.
And then what I'm doing, in order to give a little bit of perspective and create that, you know, that motion path here, is just going to the After Effects and using some, you know, I'm using some fill here, and I'm using some, you know, very pretty straightforward, like cis split or things like that. So I'm able to give the direction that I want, very 2D here, okay? This is the reason I removed the turbulence and follow spline in the Cinema 4D, okay? So I want to create these lines only in After Effects. So with that one, I'm able to create a really nice combination lines here, you see? Let me go here. And then it's really cool because it gives you something like, can you see here, it gives you also a really nice texture here to the trails.
Yeah, at the end, you don't even notice that it's the same source.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, and then I'm using also some more pixel sorter at the end. You see here, which gives, as they move, they give a little bit of glitchiness, but it starts to feel more like texturing there, okay? So it's really cool because it gives you some really cool results happening with these trails. Okay, it's simply straightforward. No, nothing fancy, but no, it gives you some cool results. That one here is another style that we were trying to achieve, and that comes from the reference. If you see, this is the time when, you know, references they are coming, transition, and we were inspired from that reference here in order to create some cool transition lines. And what we did is we created a sprite, because this is more with particular. So we created a sprite, which is a pre-composed here.
It's just a line.
Yep, very, you know, just a line. And then, you know, I'm opening the black solid, and we are using particular here, and everything that has, it's using that white line. Basically, we created that in order to create like a track matte or a mask. So we reveal from one footage to another, and it feels like a glitch, okay? So it's basically, yeah,
the alpha mate and stuff.
Exactly. So this is the reason we are using black and white here. So just a white, and we have our black background, which is like the video, and then you're using all these things in order to create at the same time a mask, but also, you know, it feels more glitchy, okay? And here is where we started to create a lot of transitions with that style. So it was transitions. So here it is, a lot of transitions that we were starting to scratch the surface with that technique. You see here, it's very fast, but, you know, it's speedy, and at the same time, it's, you know, it works cool.
It's better than a cut.
Yeah, you see here, if I take that frame by frame, we are using the particular, but at the same time, we're again playing with noise and a little bit of light. You see the light coming from right above.
Yeah.
And the same, now it flashes.
You get
And
a bit of shake too.
yeah, exactly. So it feels like more natural, the movement of the transition. Here is our cool some animatics. And when we finalized the concept, we were starting to create all the animation for the cars. And Thanos, which also did a lot of 3D stuff and motion design stuff, he created these cars. And you see the particles that I created for the style frames, all these debris and stuff, we did them, it's like, it seems like poly effects, but they have been done these in 3D Max. So just emitting some glasses from in front of the car here. And
That's
this is
cool.
this is one of my favorite shots here with a car.
The trails are nice.
Yeah, they're working really cool here. And about the trails, so what we did for the first shot, and let me show you the first shot because it's really interesting. It helped us come up with a lot of stuff. So the first shot is that one, okay? You will see here the animatic right now. So the first shot is that one. It's not the final, but we like the trails, we like the glitches. And what we did with Costas is I created a texture in After Effects, okay, in a flat composition like that. And then he took the texture and created some 3D lines. So, and he projected, the texture in this line. So you see here is again of combination. It looks more like trap code particular with a little bit of glow and glitch inside. So he took that as a texture, and then he created the final 3D lines. So you see here that basically these are 3D lines, but inside them, you see here, it feels more like a paint glitch effect. Okay, so this is what we achieved at the style frames, and we wanted to create a continuity to the whole stuff. Okay, the design, which is also cool, that our friend Chris from Till Noon they did, is we kept again the same style, with textures and things like that inside, and we use textures. We use these textures in order to create some cool effects. So Chris did some really nice typography with shapes, and then we were chatting how we can create some more cool stuff with that. So he created these textures in Photoshop, and we were starting to blend the texture with the designs that he has done. So you see here some results and some other stuff here, which has some really nice texture inside. And we keep that atmosphere because we created all these things having at the same time the atmosphere from the movie. But we didn't want to create some clean graphics, okay? You see here, work really nice. And some tweet screens, again, the same technique. We were trying to use some shapes, but again, some texture inside the shapes. Another thing that I wanted to tell you about the style frames and how we are moving on is I will open a compositing shot, which is shot number 4, to see how we translate the next day from the style frames. Sorry, I'm missing the real smart. When we had the style frames, basically, like, I'm creating the style frames. So when we have the style frames, we are able to go and start creating the final piece, okay? Because we have the visual there. The most difficult is not having the visual, okay, and trying to see how we create the really cool stuff. So I created the style frames. We talked with Miguel from Trajectory, and he was also really cool and tried to find out more cool things to add on. So we have everything in terms of style frame. So right now, what we miss is going there and make the move, which is not the easiest stuff many of the times, okay? Because it's a little bit difficult, okay, especially with a lot of effects, because I can play all, you know, like a week and adding stuff, but if these things are not able, you know, to recreate them in motion, there is no meaning, okay? So this is the reason I believe everyone who's doing art direction or style frames and things like that, he must have a knowledge of animation and motion, okay?
That's cool. So but it's a big work of compositing at the end.
Yeah, because
I mean, like, there is the 3D animation part, which is big, but the most of the final render is made in After Effects with compositing.
Because I will solo right now you will see that the compositing. So it's the camera here with the data from a 3D. Okay, so we can attach everything we want to the car, and I will start right now. You see, there are not too many layers, like 30 layers. Okay, so right now I will give you the so the RGB is that one. Okay.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't thought it was that simple, the render.
Yeah,
I mean,
I will start bringing on things more from passes. Okay, so this is the pass with a reflection pass. Okay, it's starting to be a little bit more cooler then, and some other passes here, reflection, and some other passes, you know, that Thanos did. These are the I don't know, the Knight Rider you know, glows, how I can say them, down from the car. Basically, they are some classical lights, but with glow and curves. We're boosting them. And then you will see here. So these are, so let me see if I am making any kind of mistake. Okay, but this is the video right now, okay? So here is how it comes. And then we are starting to add things, okay? So we have something like that, which is not you know, the coolest thing, and then we are using the same idea with let me go closer to the car, with the idea with the style frames, okay? So we use the texture, and here are some noise small pre-comps. So what we are doing is, let me open that, we are taking these white solid fractal noise, so we're creating fractal noise, so it feels more like lines that they are moving. Okay.
I love this effect.
Yeah, it's cool. You know, you can achieve a lot of things with fractal noise. We use a directional blur, as I showed you. So using the fractal noise, a lot of directional blur, which is also cool. And then what we are doing is we turn that in a 3D layer, so it takes the camera perspective, and we use turbulent displays. So if you know, watch at that area here, so you are using turbulent display, so it feels like, you know, there's a movement there, okay? And we are doing that in two pre-comps, the noise small pre-comp and the noise big pre-comp here. Here is we're using smoke, and then some other smoke here. That one is a 3D and has been attached to the right wheel of the car, okay? So it feels like it's very, you know, close to the car, the smoke. And then moving forward, we're adding some glow. Now, where things are starting to move towards the style frame, we're parting the three-tone effect with the lighten mode here to the whole video, and things are starting to come very close to the style frame, okay? So, you know, one click and we are close to the final, okay? So,
crazy.
Yeah, that one. And you see, it creates some really cool stuff. And then we're using, again, optical flares in order, but you see they're very, very tiny, how, you know, their final addition. Depth of field, we are using the freeze flucht, and then again noise, the classical noise, and then looks, you know, to create the contrast, and then light sources, which they are creating some really cool addition there, even though they are not, you see here, only that layer, you know, it creates a really nice focal point there. We have the 35mm noise, which gives a really nice, especially if you see the highlighted areas here. Excuse me, the light with the areas with the light. It's really cool. And then the pixel sorter, again, a lighten mode, 70% opacity, because if you start to overreacting, it will give you a lot of noise, and we didn't want to have a lot of glitch there. Okay, so like 70%, and then the 35mm again, and finally we are using some curves, or maybe just a matter of final taste. Okay, and this is it. It's pretty straightforward because we have the language from After Effects, and we're not trying to see how we can let me go to a more close. So okay, this is the reason I love to do things in After Effects, and I'm pretty sure that we are able to go there and create them. But yeah, but it's like creating a combination from light, glitz, and paint, and that style. Okay, this is what we were trying to achieve through that project.
How long did it take to make the whole movie?
I think it was about 1 month and 1 week, about that. The final.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's still one of our favorite works.
That's cool.
So here are the titles, okay, and I have my main comp where I'm placing some grain and things like that, and I will open the pre-comp here. So here is what I'm doing. Okay, I'm taking the first phrase, celebrating excellence, and what I'm doing here is I'm trying to take its letter. You see, again, I'm using the method with the guides, and I'm trying to divide my screen very carefully. So I have a specific ruler for everything that I'm creating. Okay, so you see, celebrating excellence here. I'm going deconstructing everything here, okay, and creating for each letter one mask. Okay, so you see CLEBR, everything here is just one mask, and then it is when the pain comes from me, because I take each letter and starting to animate individually. Okay, so there are a lot of keyframes for every letter here. So what I did here is I wanted every letter before it comes to create a connection with the shape. Okay, because I believe everything in terms of design, typography, or everything that is around us, it became from shape. It has been born from shapes. Okay, so this is a reason I starting to deconstruct each letter, and before it comes to the screen, I'm able to connect that with the shape. Okay, so right here you see the A. Before the A it comes, I'm referring to that one, I'm bringing a triangle with a dot there, and then I'm bringing an outer stroke here, and the outer stroke along with the triangle, they're creating the A. Okay, and the same thing I'm doing here with the G. I'm bringing at first a semicircle, which is like a half moon with a dot inside. I'm removing that and bringing the G with some mask expansion and some simple mask reveal. Okay, so bringing on the shape, then I'm doing the same here for the other letter. For the other G's, I'm building a shape that reminds the G here with fills and strokes and opacity, and it's like using the shapes for transition vehicles in that scene. Okay, and you see everything, the X, the G, the L, everything has been created and revealed with some shapes. So I'm deconstructing in layers, in solids, all the letters, and then I'm having another part with shapes. Okay, below them they are all the letters. Okay, so I'm creating all that stuff. Okay, so first shapes that they come, and then some letters that they have common language. Okay, because G, E, L, everything, it's it reminds us each one a specific shape. Okay, so this is the reason I'm doing that. And then same thing happens with February.
You're crazy, man. I mean, that's awesome, but should have taken so much time to do that.
It takes time. It takes time. So you see here about the February, it's like creating a language here. So you see Dodge and lines coming and everything, it reminds us the letter, but we're not able to see the letter, but just for a frame we're able to see the letter. Okay, and it's I know it's pretty crazy, but there are a lot of frames here. I don't know, maybe I'm torturing myself, as I told before, but I like to pay attention to the detail, and for me, typography animation, it's a great,
But I mean, at the end, it's really great stuff.
Yeah, but what I believe is if you manage to make the viewer's eye not to distinguish the transition, you have achieved, one of the final goals. At the moment it reveals itself, then it's moving to the other letter, okay? And then what I'm doing is I'm playing the thing backwards, and I'm bringing the next phrase, okay? And this is the way I'm trying to create a really nice blending and marriage and connection among them, okay? At the end, there's the European Design Awards symbol, and we are using again shapes to move from the mid light atmosphere to final darkness. And then as the final shape is there, we are bringing the shapes with, so it feels more light,
Smooth
darkness.
transition.
Yeah, okay. So even though they're completely different things, just an icon or a logo there, the way you're playing with darkness and light and shapes, you're able to make a really cool connection among these two, okay? And I will show you a few tips about typography animation, and I'll guide you through that one. So this is a project that the approach does to create a video for the Odysseus contest, which is a contest that students from all around the world, they can create they give them assignments or case studies that they create for space, and the winner has can take the final prize. There are a lot of prizes, but the most valuable prize is visiting a space station, which is pretty cool for young people. What I'm doing is I'm always starting with a nice presentation for the client, so he can be very sure and feel confident on what we are doing. So I'm having some references on how the video is going to be. You see references about design.
I think this one, the space, the uni, is made by Gis, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that, but
I think he's made by one of our team. I'm not sure about that. I should check, but I think so.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's funny to see it.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Some references here. These are from M3 studio in Russia. They're pretty cool, doing things like that. And you see here the scenario and scenes breakdown. It's very critical for us. So it's like we're taking the client from a hunt, so he feels sure and confident about the things that we are going to do. And when we are creating all this stuff, we are then able to do the storyboard, okay? It's very critical for us to do the storyboard, okay? So we're doing the storyboards. It's rough, I know, but it's able to tell the story, and this is my goal every time, okay? If a storyboard is rough, after that, we are doing the next step, which is the previews, and you see the final video. So this is the previews, okay? We are doing that just to see that we are framing the storyboard, but right now with 3D elements, and we are just creating the cameras and the flow, so we see. Yeah, it sucks, I know. It's not.
That's because there is no compositing yet. That's why.
Yeah. I will press the button, with a 3-tone, and
easy.
We feel confident because client has only 25 minutes. Seconds. So we feel that we're taking the atmosphere of the movie, okay, and we see that it flows and it's able to tell the story, okay. So this is our third step after the presentation, the storyboard. Okay, so about space being inspired here, the typography. I'm basically dividing every time the screen in grid with some guides, okay, because I want to have a specific area that I'm going to deconstruct my typography. And you see here also other elements with a space type of final here. Okay, and then I'm dividing the screen in grids, and here is again my my theory about blading stuff. And so what I'm doing is I'm going here and creating a first layer, and I have all these keyframes here. And what I'm doing here is I'm breaking each letter in one layer. And my first, my first layer of the typography is just to create an outer stroke and make them all, reveal like that. Pretty simple and straightforward as a for animation. Okay, but it's like building them layer by layer again with blending modes. Okay, so my first layer is that one, simple, straightforward typography reveal. And then what I'm doing again, another part is I'm creating another one, pre-comp here. Let me move that. And in that pre-comp, what I'm doing is, let me press U, and here's the more keyframes. Okay. Usually I see them in character animation. I don't know, maybe I don't know. I like to torture myself. There are a lot of frames here happening just for letters. So my first one was just having some outlines, and that one is I'm getting each letter and dividing the letter in shapes here and different shapes with fill. Okay, so
Nice.
so this is the second layer for all these things, and then again a second layer with a little bit of offset in time, like 2 frames, which gives you that highlight effect. Okay, so the same layer, a little bit offset in order to give a more highlight effect, and then again third with more tense in opacity with another 2 frames, so offset here. So there are 3, you see them. So it feels like you have the light and they are flickering and they're creating something like that. Okay, so
Cool.
right now I'm having that pre-comp with all that effect here, and then again I'm having that one with strokes, and I'm combining these. Excuse me, let me remove the other ones. So you see that one here, the first, and I'm giving a fill because I want to match my background. So this is the reason I'm giving that yellow fill in that one, and then starting to bring more outline comp. Bring one more at the top, so it feels a little bit more interesting with placing. But I'm using some some offset in these layers. Okay, so they don't come all at the same time. Okay, so it feels a little bit more, I don't know, like, how can I say that, like a puzzle or something, like deconstructing everything. And then some fill pieces here. Let me solo these. Some
To
fill
turn
pieces.
white.
Yeah, okay, so they come in time a little bit delayed, but they're able to highlight more the typography. Then I'm using just for some commas here, and just for the last for the last typography. Okay, so it's like deconstructing each word and then each letter and offsetting some layers. So it's pretty straightforward. Okay, but at the end it's not, because I love typo and I'm not, I don't like to get rid of the typography animation very fast. Okay, I like to build on that. And you see here it's with the camera drag here the data, and we have all the elements around, so it feels more natural to the space. And what I'm doing also, you see some more shapes around the typography, is I'm trying to frame the typography animation. Yeah.
Then it doesn't float like in
Yeah,
background.
yeah, exactly. But it's basically, layers and layers and deconstructing each layer. Some of them, they can have fill. Some of them, they can be just, the stroke outline. But this is, this is something that I'm always doing about typography. And about the design, we wanted to create some cool details, but it's not like the classical UI stuff, because we wanted the designs to support the atmosphere and the general look and feel of the video. So we created these lines and dots and these subliminal messages, some other really close up satellite shot here where the details are just supporting again the general video. some other, subliminal messages that they have no meaning. We're just placing them to make that look cool, and some other, again, design style. But I think what was cool is creating, beside the whole data and stuff that we had to present, the typography and the small little things there, we created the pack shot. Let me open the video, because there was a huge amount of information that we had to present there. It was their logo, it was the European Union guidelines and things like that. So we came up with the idea that we will create a student's desk, and there's going to be a POV shot, that everything will be on the desk, and everything it's going to be on the papers. So what we did is we created their business card, so it's like it's attached on the papers, and then we create a little bit of notes here. It's like a person or a kid has written them, some very rough designs there, some other designs like more kid drawings, a brochure of exploration of space, the European Union stuff here, a grid paper for that for that information to stand, a closer shot of these designs, that they are more natural and feel that the kid has create them. And we started, and some other hand letters. So we had a motto, which is get ready to take the space challenge. So we decided that one to make it like someone, or the kid that is the general hero of the movie has written them on the paper. Okay, so, or has make a draw that is very similar to the style. So here's what we did about the pack shot. So it's a POV, and everything stands here, and we have a little bit satellite, excuse me, here, so you feel that everything is connected with the space. Okay, we used the typeface from our friend Vasilis Skandalos, which was kind enough to share the font with us. It's called the WASC typography approach, with some cool combinations. And here are the posters, and the poster number 2, because we wanted at the end to create the feeling that everything that has been in the movie, and everything that you were seeing until the moment that you're getting into the room of the astronaut, you are now seeing that as a part of the last shot. So this is the reason we created the poster with the first shot and things like that. Okay, the compositing has been done again with the same approach as Need for Speed. We had a style frame, the first look and feel that we created for Odysseus, and then we just had the 3D renders, and it just easily moving on to the After Effects. We have the Earth here, and just a simple 3D render with some cool light maps on. We have some other shot renders from other planets, and then just creating the atmosphere. That it's we created a form nebula. It's pretty easy to create a nebula form here. With let me remove the light, because we are using the light to give some chance here, and another form for the stars. And what we are doing to control form and trap code stars, we are using a light and moving the light in order to reveal more area of the stars, or give a little bit more intense. So if I go here and starting to increase the intensity of my light, it will reveal more parts of the nebula and the stars and everything like that. And if I go and change the Z position, it's going to reveal a lot of stuff. Okay, but basically the nebula here is very, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, just some trap code form with turbulence and a little bit of color. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, and then what we did is we are using again the flares to give to the focal. We create the focal point here, as we did with Need for Speed, to that satellite with the light, And then we are creating another flare, which is, it's what we discussed. It's more like giving a natural tone of light into the scene, and not for creating something that's very fancy or very sci-fi or things like that. Okay, so just there to give you a natural tone to the scene. Okay, I think very exciting. And then we are adding some color correction, so we are getting more closer to the style frame, and then some more color corrections. Excuse me, some selective color and some vignette. And we are pretty close to the style here, and maybe some other things. And the same happens here with the astronaut. So this is the astro shot, and then to the astro shot, I'm duplicating the same. Sorry, a lot of stuff here. So I'll remove them, and then the other layer, just some levels. It's getting strange, some curves. And then I'm using extract here, and then some glow and some tint, and then I'm having my astronaut there, and some autofocus, and then I'm bringing some moonshots here. Okay, but it's pretty, it's a light controlling form again to control everything that is in background. My form stars here, so you just see a small part of the stars here. Okay, my background gives more tints, and then I'm bringing the designs, the minimal design that we just saw, and a color correction, some dirty flares. You see here, we're using the flares in a natural way. Okay, so it's just that one. It's like more a bokeh light there, nothing very fancy. And then some color correction more. Okay, so this is where we are getting the style. Okay, and I'm using sometimes the unsharp. Okay, the unsharp mask effect to give more sharp areas to the whole image, and levels again, and overlight again, some flare, and vignette, and we are pretty close to to the style frame that we have created. Okay, it's more like compositing, but not in the compositing like film style compositing. I prefer to see that more like, I don't know, motion design compositing or 3D compositing. Okay, just to give a really nice look. Okay, it's like designing the frame, but more in terms of
That's
animation.
pretty cool to see how far you can go with basic effects.
It's like photoshopping, but inside After Effects. Okay, to give you the result you're achieving. Okay, but you have the style frame, you're able to translate that style frame to the whole movie. Okay, it's now just very fast and very easy to do that. I think it's it's about telling a story using just a simple minimal language in design, and trying to achieve a really cool result with these. It's really straightforward, I think.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. It's not like a secret or something,
But thanks for everything.
Yeah,
There was a lot
yeah,
good stuff to learn.
yeah.
See?
Because I believe it's not like it's about learning how you can work with a really nice method and approach that help you express yourself. Okay, because it's like what we talked, what we discussed in the start. It's not like I'm a heavy user of all these softwares. Okay, because it's like you need two times to live to learn all these software. Okay, wish we could live twice, but it's not able to learn this. So I'm trying to learn all these tools that can be enough for me to express my creativity. Okay, I'm not able to, I can't model or things like that, or make very, very complex stuff in
Yeah, I see.
Cinema 4D or things like that. Okay, just the appropriate tools to help me express myself.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But thank you for your time and
Yeah.
all of this.
Thank you too, Aurélien.
I will just quickly finish in French, if it's okay for you.
Yeah. That's fine with me. That's fine.
Except if you have one last word or something.
No, thank you for having me. Had really it was really fun sharing with you things and insight from the project. And what I want to add is, wish there were, when I was starting motion design, like 8 or 9 years before, there were initiatives like that and people and community that were, giving insights from professionals in the industry or sharing knowledge, because back then I was grabbing from Amazon books in order to read, and I'm watching right now the creating motion graphics from the Chris Meyer, that was like the Bible when you were studying After Effects, okay? And there was no real and valuable sources in the internet. So I wish that there were initiatives like you're doing right now, where people are able to get knowledge and share knowledge, or do things that help each other in the motion design.
Sharing the love.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Donc merci à tous d'avoir suivi cette interview, j'espère que ça vous a plu. Si ça vous a plu, n'hésitez pas à nous mettre un petit pouce bleu et de partager. Et si vous avez des envies d'artistes aussi, n'hésitez pas à commenter. Et pour finir, je vous invite à rejoindre aussi le groupe Facebook ou le forum. Et puis je vous dis à bientôt. Ciao!